And welcome to another episode of The Variety Views. I'm your host, The Variety Vendor. Now, as soon as I heard about this movie being made and I got to see the trailer, I gotta admit, I was pumped. I couldn't believe that they were gonna make a Superman Red Sun movie. I thought that this will take a while for them to get to it. I thought there are many other stories for them to get through, and Red Sun would be something that I would see when I'm really, really old. But they did it, and I gotta admit, this. When I watched this movie, I was very much invested, but at the same time, I hate saying this because I feel like everybody involved, it looks like that they were trying, but at the same time, for some reason, it just wasn't clicking. There was something about this movie that really bothered me. It reminded me so much of The Killing Joke. Now, this movie is not as bad as Killing Joke because Killing Joke added so much to the source material that wasn't really needed. In this movie, they take away so much of what made the Red Sun the Red Sun miniseries so iconic, and it's really a huge shame because the movie itself, it felt like they were trying so hard to modernize it, but at the same time they ended up not really giving the message that the original source material was really trying to portray. Now, there are a lot of differences to the source material, but at the same time, they did keep a lot of the iconic stuff intact, but just one. Something that was truly missed, that I think it's the most important thing. Basically it's a character. One character that should have been in this movie, but for some reason was barely even mentioned, and that's Peter Roslov. Now, Peter Roslov is supposed to be Joseph Stalin's, his right hand man, and he was the impetus of what made Batman in that miniseries. And not just that, but it really changed the way that Superman thought. In this movie, it wasn't that. It was Lana Lang. And it bothered me so much when I was watching this. Now, Superman himself, I thought, the character, they tried so hard. Jason Isaacs was doing a really good job as of playing Superman. He did give Superman a lot of life, but at the same time, they missed the point. They really missed the point. They tried so hard to making Superman instead of making Superman, the character from Red Sun, who, is on a journey to become Superman. That's what they needed to do. But instead, what they did was they made Superman, and he never learns. And everything that is thrown on his face was unjust, was absolutely unjust. The entire movie, he's trying so hard to make things right, but for some reason, everybody else is like, oh no, you're corrupt. But they don't have any proof that he's corrupt. They're just throwing it out there because I guess that's what movies supposed to have. They are supposed to have twists. Our protagonist is supposed to be, be thrown to the floor and be stepped on. It worked for Spider-Man, so why doesn't it work for Superman? It just, you see, the difference is with Spider-Man, there are times where you look at it and you're like, okay, from the other person's point of view, I kind of get it. All right, okay, he kind of looks like a jerk there. But with Superman in this movie, he didn't. But in the original comic, he was. He was trying to do the right thing. He had the great intentions, but at the same time, he was ruthless. He would do whatever it takes. If it meant, killing thousands of people, as long as it's saving, a lot, he's willing to take the risk. He's willing to take a chance. And another person that they screwed up was Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was supposed to be, in the comic, he was supposed to be the same thing, the by any means necessary, basically. But in the movie, he's a patriot. He's a good guy. He'll do whatever it takes, but at the same time, he's got morals. He's a good guy. Oh yeah, I forgot the anniversary, but yeah, there's no tension between him and Lois. There's no shakiness in the marriage that he has with Lois. There's none of that. And when I heard that Diedrich Bader was going to voice one of the characters, I was like, great. He was always a great Batman. But instead they got Roger Craig Smith, who did a good job. I thought he did a really good job. But hearing Diedrich Bader playing Lex Luthor, it just didn't work for me. I don't know. I wish that they would have brought back Clancy Brown, but they didn't. They brought in Diedrich Bader for this character, and it just didn't work. It's like if you bring Kevin Conroy to play the Joker, it doesn't sound right. Lex Luthor is supposed to be a do whatever it takes to be the right, to be in the right, in everybody's eyes. Create a facade for everybody to make, everybody think that, hey, everything is okay because I'm in charge and you should trust me. While, having his fingers crossed behind his back. That's Lex Luthor. And with Batman, it just felt like he was really, he didn't, I don't feel like he gave anything to this movie. In the comic, it made sense. It made so much sense. Batman was a really, really big part of the journey that Superman was going through. Even though that he had a limited amount of, page time. But in this movie, it felt like, oh, we just need Batman. I mean, like, why? Why do you need Batman in this arc if you're not gonna use him right? If you're not gonna use him right in this story, then why have him at all? Another person is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, and this is something that I really didn't like, where Wonder Woman felt like a total, an absolute extreme SJW. She sounded like just this man-hater, and it was bad. It wasn't in a way where it was like, okay, I get it, you're wrong, okay. But no, it's like, no, all men are bad. All men are the worst. My mother was right. Even though that she was treated well by, men. I mean, like, she sees Superman in a way, and then she goes, yeah, all men are wrong. All men are the worst. Really? I just didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And there is something that happens in this movie that I don't want to spoil. I don't want to talk too much about what happens on the movie because the movie is good. I liked it. But at the same time, like as a movie on its own, it was good. It was okay. Like if I would give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. But as a animated interpretation of the comic book, it failed. This should have been a home run for DC. But for some reason, they changed so much. You didn't have to change anything. The comic book was so perfect. The ending is still one of the greatest endings in any comic book for me. And it had so many scenes. It had so many panels that really got to me. This is probably my favorite Superman comic, and this is the reason why I'm so hurt by this movie. I'm so hurt by this movie because it could have been great. This could have been such a big resurgence for DC when it comes to animated movies, because the past few years they haven't been good. I mean, like you could like see, Gotham by Gaslight and be like, all right, that was good. Justice League, Fate of the Fatal Five, which is also directed by the same guy, Sam Liu, was good. I like that movie, but at the same time, it has been a while, probably since Under the Red Hood, since DC had an awesome animated movie. And I really thought that this was going to be it. I was like, all right, they screwed it up with Killing Joke. They did okay with, Dark Knight Returns, even though that, it was a little bit, it didn't need to be 2 parts. It could have been like a 2-hour, animated flick, and that would have been it. But, it was good. It was fine. And then when I heard about Red Son, I was like, all right, this is it. And even Hush also was awful, was so awful. And I thought, all right, you know what? They screwed up with Killing Joke. They screwed up with Hush. And now we got Red Son. All right, they can do this. And I see it. And all I can say after watching the flick, it was okay. That's all I can say. And it hurts me to say it. I don't know where they go from here. I really don't. There are other stories for them to go for, like whatever happened with the Man of Tomorrow. I really enjoyed that comic. They could do something like that, or they could do Kingdom Come. That could be something. But it's hard for me to trust them again. I'm still holding out hope, but my expectations are so low now, more so than ever. Like, when I heard about this, I kind of, peaked, but yeah, they dropped the ball. I don't know where they go from here, but I'll be sure to be on the lookout for that. And with that being said, rate, comment, favorite, how, please subscribe, share with your friends, share with everybody, and check out my next video. I'll be talking about something else. Take care.